All right, man. We are back. We are back. We are back. You guys, welcome back to another episode, man, of the Winner's Diet Show. I am your host, Mac Solomon, aka Project Mac. As you guys can see, I got a new change, got the fresh cut. I had to make a change, man. It was my birthday on Monday. Yes, yes. Just turned 31, the big 3-1. And I think it was time for a change, man. I think just with what I'm trying to do this year and the potential rooms I'll be stepping into, I think it was time for just more of a cleaner cut look. And I was kind of tired of the braids too. So yeah, man, I had to go back to the natural. It feels good. I'm not gonna lie. I like this look a lot better. Um, Maybe just because I haven't had it in like shit 3.5 years. So it feels good to be back to um my normal look, man. So it's gonna take some getting used to, but I like it, man. I like it a lot. I think it looks good on me. It's fitting on me. Um so I'm excited, man. It's a new year, fresh start. So it's just time for me to step into the new year with one, turning a new age, and then two, stepping into a new look. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited for what's to come. I know this year is gonna be a good year. Had some good news, had some bad news. But that's just kind of how life goes. It's always gonna be up and down. There's really never gonna be any constant level of success. Things are gonna happen. I understand that. But the biggest thing that I can do for myself, man, is to continue to keep pushing and not let any type of negativity bring me down or get in the way of the actual goal. I got to remain innovative, creative, and constantly trying to reinvent myself and put myself in a better position to win. That's the best thing you can do for yourself. Always put yourself in the best possible situation to win. There's never going to be a better position to be in than the one you put yourself in to win. So always remember that, man. Never settle for dumb shit that is not on your level. Always put yourself in the best possible situation to win. If that means you sacrificing time, you know, if that means you putting yourself in uncomfortable positions, if that means you doing things you don't want to do, it doesn't matter. Always put yourself in the best position to win long term. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So I'm not thinking about tomorrow or next week. I'm thinking about 10, 15, 20 years down the line. How do I want my life to look? How do I want my life to be designed? It starts with you. And for me, that was me just starting fresh, cutting my braids off, you know. um because I was sick, man. I don't know if you guys are remember, man, but I was sick for like a week and a half. And that week taught me a lot, man. It taught me a whole lot, and it's gonna tie into today's show, by the way. But it taught me a whole lot about everything, a lot about life, about decisions I'm making. So that week and a half where I was down bad and I was really, really sick, it really taught me and put things in perspective about what is really important out here. So we'll get into that, man. But anyway, man, we got a great show lined up for you guys today. Shout out to everybody in here. Happy Wednesday. I know we're running a little bit behind today. But shit happens, but we here either way. Shout out to everybody in here. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We got a great show lined up for you guys today. Before we get into it, man, make sure you guys go ahead and get my free 7-day fat loss guide if you guys are looking to build muscle and lose body fat, go ahead and get my free 7-day fat loss guide. That is now available for you guys. It's free, no purchase necessary. All right. We got Ryan Jace. What's up, Ryan Jace? What's up? How you doing, brother? Hold on, I got a call coming. Yo, hey, yo, I'm live right now on YouTube. Yeah,
Okay.
you coming? Yeah, are you live right now, bro?
What's going on, chat?
Say what's up to the chat, man. Say what's up to the chat.
Chat, what's going down, man? Hey, we're gonna do big things this year. You know what I'm saying? Follow your boy Max Sullivan.
All right, bro. I'll hit you after.
Yeah. All right,
All right. Going good, bro. Hey, Ryan Jace, appreciate you for tapping in, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We appreciate you, brother. All right. Anybody else want to show some love? Please type it in the chat. We are going on for the next hour. This guy said, "Why did Kai quit?" I'm guessing you mean Kai Cenat. I don't know, man. I think people. I think he's. I feel like this is my opinion on the Kai Cenat thing. To me, I feel like he's hit his ceiling with streaming. I feel like he's accomplished everything that he needs to accomplish, and now he wants to transition to a different lane. And I don't see an issue with that. I don't see a problem with that. I think once you master your craft, I think it's time to pivot and do something different. I think he was bored with it, man. I think he was bored with streaming. Maybe, he said his mental health was, you know, in decline because of it. I don't know. It's kind of hard for my mental health to be in decline if I'm making millions of dollars on YouTube. I don't know, but I think he's ready for a different chapter in his life, and I think that happens to people, man. I think people kind of they get they get bored. I think that's what happened. I think he just got bored. You know, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Things are gonna happen. How's your day? Hey, my day's going good, bro. It's been long. Had a lot going on today, full day of work, but I still got to find time to come on here, give you guys a good quality show, stream for about an hour. So if you guys have any fitness questions before we get into today's show, go ahead and drop it in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer every single one. Or if you guys got just questions in general about anything, go ahead and type it in, man. I'm free to, I'm happy to interact with you guys. You tell them, Tyrone. My name is Mac, sir. Get it right. You're on my show, by the way. So when you in here, you call me by my name, motherfucker, is Mac or Project Mac if you must. Please and thank you. But anyway, let's get into today's show, man. Shout out to everybody in here, even the trolls. We appreciate the trolls too. All right, let's get into the first article. Before we get into it, today we are talking about later on in the show. We are talking about you cannot win with the losing body. So that'll be towards the 45 to 50-minute mark. All right, so we'll break down the main event, the main topic of today's show. But before that, we have our two segments. The first one, the Fit Report, reporting on fitness news, things that are happening in the fitness industry. Two, the second segment is What the Fitness, reacting to viral, trendy fitness videos, winner's diet type content. So giving my reactions on that. And then, of course, we have the main event, talking about and breaking down how you cannot win with a losing body. All right. So make sure you guys stick around for that. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into the first article of today's show. Here we got a New York Post. So it says Serena, Simone, and Tom Brady star athletes are now promoting GLP-1s, what it means for your weight loss. All right, let's take a look here. So, that's some serious star power. Shortly after his baffling Pizza Hut commercial dropped, ex-NFL star Tom Brady was named Chief Wellness Officer of EMED, a digital health platform for GLP-1 drugs, and more. The seven-time Super Bowl champion, 48, joins the ranks of superstar athletes promoting the blockbuster weight loss and diabetes meds, a head-scratching move that some experts are hailing as a game changer. The number of Americans who have turned to drugs like Zepbound, Wegovy, and Ozempic to slim down or control their blood sugar has more than doubled since early 2024. Since these drugs are prescribed to those who are obese or struggling with type 2 diabetes, athletes backing or even using GLP-1 treatments may seem bewildering. Dr. Peter Balaz, a hormone and weight loss specialist based in New Jersey, argues that there are several benefits to goats, encouraging the use of the medications. It opens the door to healthy discussions, allowing medical professionals to address risks, benefits, and create a safer environment. Uh, Balaz told the Post. Throughout their fame and hard-earned credibility, it encourages their followers to make the first step towards a healthier lifestyle, he added. It can also redefine their legacy by transforming from sports icons to champions of public health. Excuse me. While 28-year-old Simone Biles doesn't take Monjaro, the eight-time Olympic medalist partnered with Eli Lilly after her mother started the medication for type 2 diabetes. All right, now we're gonna end it right there. So as you guys can see, man, they they are starting to recruit a lot of big time athletes to start pushing the GLP-1 weight loss drug. And I knew this was coming from when one Serena started doing it. That was probably the biggest fish that they could get. I think she started promoting that a few months ago because she had weight loss issues. She had taken the drug, lost about 30 pounds. And this is Serena freaking Williams that we're talking about, Olympic tennis star, really probably one of the greatest athletes that we've ever seen. And even she was struggling with her weight. And you would think that someone of that magnitude would have the resources, the access to lose weight the natural way. But we're in a different day and time now. These things can be paid for, as you can see, and she did exactly that. So, um, and with the rise of Ozempic and all these weight loss drugs happening, these companies are making a lot of money, man. They're making a lot of money. So, paying Serena to be a sponsor was nothing for them, and now they're gonna go get more bigger heads. They're gonna get Tom Brady, another big fish. They probably paid him a hefty bag. Simone Biles, they probably paid her a hefty bag. Don't be surprised if they start getting, once LeBron retire, they might get LeBron next year or 2 years, maybe when he retires. They might get another big time star. Like, this is going to be an ongoing thing. They're just going to continue to get the biggest stars to promote health, and because they know they have a big audience, they know they have a big fan base, and they just know the power of advertising. So these companies are smart, man. They have a lot of money to throw around, and these athletes are going to take it. They're not going to turn down that type of bag. So this is just another. This is an easy bag for them, and I don't blame them. If I was in that position and they were throwing me a crazy bag to promote this weight loss drug, I'll be honest with y'all. And I'm the main one that promotes, doing it the right way. But if the numbers are right, if the bag was right, I'm taking that bag. Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. And here's the thing too, man. I'm not against GLP-1 drugs. I'm not against Ozempic. I'm not against any of these weight loss drugs. However, I encourage people to do it the natural way first. Don't skip and jump to Ozempic just because You feel like you're overweight. Give yourself a chance first to get in shape. Give yourself a chance to do it the natural way, right? Diet and exercise. Do it that way first. If that doesn't work and you've been consistent and you feel like it's just not going as quick enough or fast enough, and you've been doing it for months to a year and there's no drastic results, okay, let's start exploring GOP1 drugs. Let's start exploring Ozempic. Then we can start having that conversation. But do not jump into Ozempic just because you're fat, just because you're overweight. You need to do it the natural way first. Give yourself a chance. You know, give yourself a chance because if you do it, because here's the thing, most people most people will jump into Ozempic and these weight loss drugs and they don't know the side effects. They don't know that if you lose weight very quickly, you'll have loose skin and that just it looks a mess. So if you do it the natural way, if you do it the long-term way, it may not be as quick as you want it to be. It may not be as sexy and intriguing, but it's gonna be for long term. For long term, it's gonna be the best way possible. Because one, you're gonna lose the weight slowly, and you're gonna have the habits to keep the weight off. And another thing is you won't have that excess loose skin. Whenever you see someone that has all this loose skin and their skin just looks crazy, it looks like they got wings if they open up their arms. That was because they lost weight too quickly. So you don't want to be in that position where you're losing weight very quickly and now you have all this excess skin around you. It just looks crazy, and it's hell to get that off. You would need some type of weight loss surgery to get that off, and that's another cost. So if you just did it right the first time, this wouldn't be a thing for you, you know? So I always encourage people, man, just do it the right way. Do it slowly first. If it doesn't work, then okay, let's start exploring. Let's start doing our research on the weight loss drugs. But I've never been against Ozempic. You know, I'm not going to encourage people to do Ozempic unless they're paying me, right? But I'm never going to be like, go get Ozempic, go hop on GO1P. I'm not going to do that. I'm always going to encourage people to do it the right way first, and then if it doesn't work out the way it needs to, okay, let's start. Let's pivot. But you know, everyone's different, and just do what works for you, man. All right, let's move on to the next article. Shout out to everybody in here. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. What do we got here? What's next? Okay, this thing's acting up right now. Man, my computer is on some goofy shit right now. Where are we at with it, man? I think this is it. All right, here we go. So this article says, excuse me, people who work on themselves report a 35% boost in confidence. Psychology research consistently shows that deliberate self-improvement, especially physical activity and skill building, raises self-efficacy, a core driver of confidence identified by the APA and widely discussed in psychology today. When people invest in themselves, they're not just chasing aesthetics or status, they're rebuilding trust in their own agency, which reduces anxiety and increases emotional availability. Confidence, it turns out, is less about being chosen and more about knowing you're already capable, grounded, and whole. Absolutely, man. Um, Working on yourself is not working on yourself is never going to be the most intriguing thing, right? It's never going to be the most exciting thing. Working on yourself is never going to be the most fun thing to do, but it's very necessary. um it's very necessary to I just lost my train of thought because I read this comment. But it's very necessary to do if you want to get to that next level, you know. I've had to work on myself plenty of times. I've had to lock in and do things that I didn't want to do plenty of times, you know. But in the moment it's not fun. But over time, once you do the work, once you do the work, you'll start to realize how much more confidence you have in yourself, how much more trust that you have in yourself. You know, it's not a fun process, man. Like working on yourself and trying to improve is never fun. It's lonely, it's dark. You don't have any validation. You don't have anybody cheering you on unless you have, friends in your corner that's supporting you. But you're never going to have, that cheerleader behind you. You're never going to have that encouragement because you don't want to tell anybody that you're self-improving. Like the last thing you want to do is announce to the world that you're trying to better your life. That's the last thing you want to do when you're fixing your life, whether that be you starting over, you going from 100 to 0, just starting from ground zero. Keep your mouth shut. Don't tell anybody that you're starting over. Don't tell anybody that you're starting from scratch. Just do the work. Just do the work. I know right now, especially on social media, everybody's in this stage, in this phase right now where they want to be vulnerable. I get it, man. I'm not saying don't share your life, because you don't know who it could inspire, right? But at the same time, man, everybody doesn't need to know every single detail about your life. I share bits and pieces of what I'm going through. Most people don't know what the fuck is going on in my life. And I like to keep it that way. I like it that way. I don't need I don't need everybody in my business, man. I don't need everybody knowing every single detail about what I'm doing, about my next move, about what I'm gonna do tomorrow. I don't need y'all to know this shit. I just need y'all to see the final product. I need y'all to see the final end result. You know, it's too many people telling people about what they're gonna do next, about what they got planned and where they are in life. Like some of that shit is unnecessary. You don't need to announce everything you're doing. You don't need to announce everything that has happened to you. There's just certain things you need to keep quiet. So, like I always say, when you're rebuilding your life, when you're fixing your life, when you are starting over from zero, keep your mouth shut. Don't tell anybody anything until you fix that situation. Then you can tell people. Then you can tell your story. Don't tell your story while don't tell your story while it's being written. Tell your story when it's finished, when the book is done. That's when you announce. That's when you share. But don't tell your story right in the middle because you don't know what can happen. You don't know if you'll ever get there. You don't know if you'll ever reach the goals that you have set, you know? But the story is way better when you've reached a goal, when you've accomplished what you wanted to accomplish, and you've gotten past that hump and on to the next level. It doesn't sound good while you're in the story. Like, you know, so that's just how I feel, man. I don't feel like I need to announce everything that I'm doing. I don't feel like I need to announce my next moves, because self-improvement to me is a very um it's a very self-reflecting process. It's a very, one-on-one type of ideal. And you'll see the person that you become when it's done. But you won't get there if you're just constantly announcing what you're doing. It's never gonna happen, you know? Excuse me. Tyson Shin 5385 says if you really want to learn how to do better, do research shit. You not You not. That's how I learned doing arm curls, art, meditation, and a lot of other things. Don't really understand the statement, but yes, I mean, doing your research is very important, man. Always do your research. Never just listen to what you see or hear on the internet. You know, I had a friend, my boy Christian. Shout out to Christian Robinson, Big Zito. Um, he be sending me videos of trainers and fitness, content creators about, different ideas I should get into. And I'll look at some of them, and yeah, the content is good as far as just how it's edited and things like that, but that doesn't always mean the information is correct. you know, like he'll send me videos of trainers that put out good content, good looking content visually, right? But the information is it doesn't match up. A lot of the information is bull. It's fluff. So that's why I'm just like, man, do your own research because someone's gonna see that and think it's correct. But you have to do your own research. So that's what I think. All right, let's move on to the last and final article of the Fit Report. What do we have here? I think this is it. And this thing's acting up today, man. I swear to God. All right, here we go. This article says muscular girls are not attractive to guys. Survey results. Okay. A recent social preference survey found that most male respondents said they prefer curvier body types over highly muscular physiques when asked to choose between the two. Researchers note that attraction is strongly shaped by cultural norms, media exposure, and personal experience, not by a single ideal body type. Many respondents associated curves with femininity, while muscular builds were often linked to athletic performance rather than attraction. Psychologists emphasize that these results do not reflect universal preferences. Attraction varies widely across individuals, regions, and groups in social circles. What what one group prefers doesn't define beauty or desirability for everyone. Preference describes trends, not rules. Human attraction is diverse and deeply personal. Social behavior experts explain. Yeah. So, okay. Uh Look, man, everybody's going to have their preferences, right? Everybody has a preference. Some guys like thick girls. Some guys like small, petite girls. Some guys like athletic girls. Some guys like the bodybuilding, muscular type. You know, it just depends on what you into. I don't judge anybody's preferences. Me personally, I'm not really into uh the bodybuilding, super muscular type of woman. That's just my preference. I don't really like that type of look. Not saying that it's bad or there's anything wrong with that. It's just not for me. And I've dealt with women like that in the past, right? Me being in fitness, I've dealt with women that did bodybuilding and were the muscular type. It just wasn't for me. You know, I just didn't really like it. It wasn't really a preference of mine. I like girls that work out, but I don't need you super, super cut up. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. Like, I don't like women that are super, super cut. I think there's a softness that I like. You can still go to the gym and work out very hard. You can work out hard, you can train hard, but there's still a certain level of softness that I like in a woman's body type. Too much vascularity and veins. I'm just not into that, you know. And again, shout out to the women that are like that. It's just not for me. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, man. Like women that are super shredded and super toned up, man. I don't know. I'm not into it. I'm not into it. I don't like the way it feel. I just think I don't know. Women are not supposed to be that shredded to me. You know, not trying to be an asshole, but just to me, I like women that have the softer look. You know, it just is what it is, man. Everybody's gonna have their preference. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It doesn't mean that you're a hater. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means you have your preference. Some guys like super big, thick women. I'm not really into that either. You know what I'm saying? I like women that, definitely have meat on their bones, but not to the point where they're obese. It is what it is. You know, I like girls that work out. I like girls that lift weights. I like girls that are athletic. You know, um, slim, thick, if you must. You know, anywhere from like 120 to 140 pounds, I can deal with. Anything over than that, kind of pushing it. But um, just athletic, man. Athletic, trains hard, eats clean. That's kind of my that's kind of my speed. But shout out to everybody, to each his own. I'm not gonna knock anybody's preference. I got homies that like super thick, big women. I got homies that like women that are 100 pounds and less. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. So there's no right or wrong answer here. It all depends on your type, man. All right, let's move on to what do we have here. Let's move on to the second segment. What the fitness. Shout out to everybody in here. Let's pull up the first video here. Where are we at with it, man? Where are we at with it? I think this is it right here. All right, let me refresh the video. This guy's talking about how she's lying to you. She doesn't actually prefer dad bods. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at what this guy has to say.
Women who say that they prefer a man who has a dad bod over a muscular or shredded physique, they're actually lying to themselves, and they don't even know that they're lying. And the reason for this is they have something called competition anxiety, which tells them, hey, if I date or marry a man who has a great physique, there's other women that are going to want them, right? So hypergamy says that they want to be with the man that is going to be the best for reproduction. And the man that's best for reproduction, which is the biological drive, is a man that has high testosterone. So naturally, they're actually attracted to men who have great physiques, broad shoulder, chest plate, they're lean, lower body fat, higher muscle mass. That signals that they have high testosterone, and they're going to be better than the man with a dad bod for reproduction. But because their competition anxiety seeps in, they're going to tell themselves and other people, hey, I don't want to date that guy because it's going to make them anxious when they're in a relationship. I think women who say,
yeah, he hit it on the head, man. I would say there's, just like he said, there's two main reasons. There's two main reasons why certain let me say this again. There's two main reasons why certain women don't like guys that are in, great physical shape, like gym bros, right? They don't like that gym bro look. And there's really two reasons why. The first one, just like he mentioned, the first one is about competition anxiety. Um, Humans really don't like to compete, right? Men like to compete, but at the same time, we don't like to compete for women. Just how women don't like to compete for men. You know, in this instance, women know that if they get with a guy that is super in shape, chiseled abs, great physique, she knows that there's going to be competition there. She knows that other women are going to find him attractive. She knows that she's going to have to work overtime to keep his attention. So a lot of women that don't have that competition, or women that have competition anxiety, they're not going to want to deal with that, because they're going to know in the back of their mind or back of their head, even though it may or may not be true, oh, he got other girls that he's talking to. And that may not even be true. But in her head, she thinks that he has other women that find him attractive because of his physique and he's in shape. So that's one reason why she would not want to deal with a guy that's in physical shape. She'd rather deal with a guy that is in lesser shape or maybe have a dad bod. So whenever you see guys that be like, see, I see a bad girl or I see a hot girl with a guy with a dad bod, well, she just has competition anxiety. She kind of settled for him. It is what it is. All right. And the second reason why women might settle for a guy with a dad bod is simply because, man, there's a lot of women. It depends on who you are, right? This doesn't apply to everybody, obviously. This doesn't apply to every woman, obviously, but there's a lot of women that don't like disciplined men. Oh yeah. There's a lot of women that do not like men that are super disciplined. They don't like the fact that men are in bed by 9 p.m. They don't like the fact that men wake up at 5 a.m. to go train. They don't like the fact that men have their meals planned out. They're drinking their water everywhere they go. They don't drink. They don't smoke. They don't eat out. They don't like that. And the reason why they don't like that is because they don't want those same men to hold them accountable for their bad decisions when it comes to them and their lifestyle. They don't want to be judged by what they're eating, what they're drinking, why they're staying up till 2 a.m, doom scrolling on TikTok. They don't want to be held accountable for that. They want a guy that's carefree. They want a guy that's doing the same things that they're doing, which is why they might settle for a guy, or they might go with a guy that is not disciplined, that doesn't have the great physique, because she knows he's not going to hold her accountable, and she knows that there's not going to be a bunch of women knocking at his doorstep. So there's reasons why you see the propaganda that, oh, women prefer guys with dad bods. No, they don't. They don't. They would rather have that guy, but they understand what that type of guy comes with. So they rather just go with the guy that doesn't have these things. Doesn't mean they want that guy. It just means that they rather not just deal with everything that comes with it. Their need to not be held accountable is greater than their attraction, if that makes sense. And I understand it. I understand it. But it is what it is. They might settle for the guy that has the dad bod, the guy that doesn't work out and train hard, the guy that eats burritos every single day, but they're still aroused by the gym bro Chad. It's just a biological response. They're never not gonna like that. You know what I mean? But they just understand the repercussions that come with that. They understand what comes with having a man like that. So they're not gonna be as quick to jump the gun. They might mess around with him, they might have fun with him, but commitment, they might think twice about that. They might think twice about that. Trust me, man, I've seen this happen so many damn times. I've seen it happen so many damn times. That's why there's propaganda all the time. Oh, women love guys with dad bods. Women love dad bods. They don't like the chads. No. They want the dad bods. Okay. No, okay. But we know why. If you know, you know, man. If you know, you know. Anyway, all right, let's move on. We got another video here. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Where are we at with it here? I think this is another one here. Okay. Here we go. Gym owners. It's almost tax season. So here we have gym owners preparing to report their taxes on the building. All right, here we go.
Nothing. Zero. Zilch. By the time I pay all my scientists, all my people in my research department, lab coats, it's a wash. Well, why you do it then, baby Billy? Well, because I'm selfless. I make nothing. Zero. Zilch. By the time I pay all my scientists, all my people in my research department, lab coats, it's a wash. Well, why you do it then, baby Billy? Well, because I'm selfless.
Yeah, I would never own a gym. I think owning a gym might be one of the worst investments you can ever make in yourself or just in a business. right? I truly believe that just by being around different gyms, knowing a lot of gym owners, owning a gym might be the worst investment to make. You got overhead, you got to pay staff, you got to deal with machines breaking down, replacing machines, memberships, headaches from, customers and clients. It's just too much of a headache for such a low return. Not to mention you're going to be in the red for a few years, right? You're going to be in the red for a few years. You're not going to make any money really in the first couple of years of you owning that gym. Like you got to have a lot of things in place. You got to have classes. You got to have personal training that is selling. Your memberships have to be selling. Like there's got to be a lot of things in place for you to make money in a gym, in a boutique gym in 2026. Most gyms that were around before COVID, a lot of them either went out of business or they're still in business, but they're still in the red. There's a lot of gyms like that. And they're going to probably be in the red for as long as they're open for. So and I've had gym owners tell me never open a gym. I've had gym owners tell me do not open the gym. If you have the ability and the resources to open the gym, don't do it. If you are going to do it, make that shit a private gym where you have trainers paying you rent every single month and you got to have, classes still going on, your membership still, but you trying to do a traditional gym in 2026, it makes zero sense. It makes zero sense. Hey, there might be gym owners out there that's watching this that say otherwise. Maybe you can prove me wrong. Hey, but look, I've been around the gym scene the last 15 years. I haven't really seen any gym that was crushing it. Not saying that there aren't gyms that are crushing it. I know a few, but those are the minority. Those are very rare cases. I'm talking about the average gym is not making money. The gym trainer and the gym owner is paying himself a very low salary, if anything, and he's just taking a loss. He's taking a hit. Now, if you can afford that, then hey, by all means, keep opening up gyms. But most gym owners cannot afford that shit. Most gyms are cover ups. A lot of people aren't even telling you that, right? There's a lot of gyms that are fronts for money laundering. This is very prevalent in places like LA, Miami, big cities, Atlanta. There's a lot of gyms that are fronts for money laundering, which is why, because you'll see that they have nobody up in there, but the lights are on and they've been on for years, but there's nobody in there. So a gym is just a bad investment unless you can get somebody to come pay for it, right? I know a lot of gyms are sponsored by big companies and the companies just use that as a write-off. So if you can get that, great. But I just the problems and headaches that would come from me owning a gym, it just wouldn't be worth it. I'd have to be making it a lot of money for that shit to happen, right? That's the only way. Or I just partner with a bunch of different people. But at that point, it wouldn't even make sense because the margins would be too fucking low. So it wouldn't even make sense to open up a gym in that sense. If I'm partnering with four or five people and we're all splitting the profits and we're all in the red, what's the point? So like I said, if you can find a big brand to come sponsor you, which is highly unlikely, you know, there's guys that can pull that off, but um, if you can't, hey, find you the local dope boy, find you the local neighborhood drug dealer that can give you some bread and help you clean his money. But yeah, man, owning a gym in 2026 is not the smartest move. I wouldn't do it. It just doesn't make any sense. All right, man. I think we got one more video to go before we got the main event. Let's get straight to it, man. I don't think we need this one. Let's get straight to it. Okay, man. So today, you guys, we are talking about you cannot win with a body that's losing. So when we talk about just your health overall, your body has to either be supporting your life. If your body is not supporting your life, it's sabotaging it. I'll say it again. If your body is either supporting your life or sabotaging it. There's no in between. You can't win in business, you can't win in relationships, you can't have a winning mindset if your body is constantly tired, if you're fatigued, if you're weak, if you're breaking down. How can you win? How can you have a winning mindset? How can you have energy to keep going? How can you have the mental fortitude to push past adversity? You know, a losing body eventually creates a losing life, unfortunately, right? And we're going to break down how that's possible, right? So if I'm constantly always tired all the time, if I'm putting junk food in my body, if I can't, have the energy to work out and to lead people, how can I really get anywhere in life? You know, my body's bringing me down when I'm supposed to be going forward. I'm taking steps backwards. How am I going to reach my goals? So these are all things that we have to consider, especially as we get older, man. As we get older, like the problems are only going to get bigger. The things that you were trying to avoid or the things that you weren't even thinking about in your teens and 20s are going to start creeping up in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, right? Fatigue, low energy, low motivation, injuries last longer, sleep, poor sleep quality, brain fog, mood swings, like all of these things start to increase as you get older if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't prioritize your body, right? So let's take a look here. We got a video of a guy describing how you cannot have a winning body or a winning life if you have a losing body. So let's take a look at it.
So just take care of that.
Let me refresh it real quick. My bad. Here we go.
People don't do well simply because they don't feel well. So just take care of that. Study nutrition. Do the exercises. Don't be too lazy to do it. A lot of people don't do well simply because they don't feel well.
That's it, man. If you were always on 10, if you always had the energy to, move around, go after your goals, bro, you would get to your goals eventually. You would always have a winning mindset. You would not be in a position where you will be slowing down. But if your body was constantly tired and you know your mood is down, it's going to be very hard for you to get to that next step, that next level, right? Every day is just going to feel like a war. Every day is going to feel like another day that you got to overcome. Like nobody wants to feel like that. We all have goals, we all have dreams, we all have things that we want to achieve, man. It's never going to happen if your body is constantly tired. If your body is not operating at 110% every single day, how can you get there? I talk about, man, how sick I was, bro, a week and a half ago. I was sick out of my mind about a week and a half ago. I didn't work out for 2 weeks. I had a lingering back issue that I was fighting. Uh, I had a crazy fever, cough, sore throat. It was the worst week and a half of my life, right? As an adult. And I've had some bad weeks. I've had some bad days, but man, the reason why it was bad, not because all these things were happening, was mentally, it just put things into perspective for me, right? Mentally, it made me realize how much I need to appreciate my health, right? Being sick, feeling like everything was just crumbling down. That shit made me appreciate my health, man. Not to the point where I was destroying my body. I was, doing dumb shit to my body. But it made me realize because for the first time in a long time, I had to sit my ass down and do nothing. I had to sit my ass down and do absolutely nothing. I couldn't do anything. I was injured. I was sick. I couldn't work out. I couldn't work. So for the first time in a long time, bro, I felt useless. I felt useless, bro. And it was a very eye-opening moment of mine. It was a very eye-opening moment in my life because it just made me realize how important my health is, man. Like you really only have one body, man. You got one body. Your health is really all you got. I could have, bro, I could be a millionaire. I could be a multimillionaire. I could be a billionaire. I could have all the money in the world. I could have everything I want. But if I'm sick, if I'm useless, if I can't do anything, what good is that? What good is that money, man? What good is that money? You can't enjoy it. You can't spend it. Sure, I can, buy medicine and things like that. But in that moment, I'm useless. I can't do anything. Couldn't do anything. And it just made me realize, man, life can happen very quick, man. Things can turn around very quick because prior to that, I was feeling great. Nothing was wrong. And then it just takes one moment just like that. Boom. And now you're sick in bed. You can't work. You can't work out. I felt depressed, man, out of my mind. I felt super depressed because I felt hopeless. And someone like me, I'm used to just moving around and constantly just moving and getting things done. I'm not When I'm stuck in one place, I get depressed. I get anxious because that's just not how I'm supposed to be moving. That's not how I operate in my life. I'm always constantly moving. I have to keep, you know, um, getting things done and being of service to myself or others. Like if I can't do that, then I just feel effectively useless. And that's one of the worst things I can feel. And that's just how I felt the last week and a half, man. It was not a good feeling. But I'm glad now I'm better. I'm glad now I'm feeling good, feeling better, and I'm excited. I'm super excited for what the year has to bring. Because now it just put things in perspective how important having a healthy body is. There's no way in hell I could win being in that state. There's no way. Uh-oh. That's how it could be. That's how your life could be if you don't take care of yourself. Injuries can last longer. Your body's breaking down. You might have terminal illness, disease from you not taking care of yourself. That's how quickly life can turn around if you don't start handling business now. So that's all I want to say, man. My laptop's about to die, but thank you guys for tuning in and tapping in. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back on Friday. Hopefully, if not Friday, Saturday, because we got a lot of things going on Friday, but we'll be back this weekend for sure. Make sure you guys follow us on all socials, Winners Diet Club, Project Mac. And yeah, man, we'll see you guys soon. Peace.